Are you seeking guidance on your spiritual journey? Need help with a vexing problem? Missing a loved one and looking for answers? Look no further than Psychic Insights, a small trusted psychic service offering mediums, psychics, and spiritual coaching. This service is managed by Hollis Taylor, a gifted psychic medium, astrologer, and a compassionate coach. We are dedicated to helping you navigate your spiritual awakening. At Psychic Insights, we provide medium readings and psychic insight to help you plan for tomorrow and make choices for today. Find the support you need, compassionate grief coaching, and astrological insights to help you spiritually grow and transform. Our professional services include well-managed schedules, recorded sessions, and reliable psychic mediums ready to facilitate your transformational experience. Discover more at psychicinsights.life. Are you seeking guidance on your spiritual journey? Need help with a vexing problem? Missing a loved one and looking for answers? Look no further than Psychic Insights, a small trusted psychic service offering mediums, psychics, and spiritual coaching. This service is managed by Hollis Taylor, a gifted psychic medium, astrologer, and a compassionate coach. We are dedicated to helping you navigate your spiritual awakening. At Psychic Insights, we provide medium readings and psychic insight to help you plan for tomorrow and make choices for today. Find the support you need, compassionate grief coaching, and astrological insights to help you spiritually grow and transform. Our professional services include well-managed schedules, recorded sessions, and reliable psychic mediums ready to facilitate your transformational experience. Discover more at psychicinsights.life.
Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome. I've made it. You know what? I don't need these. It's funny. I put them on, but if I'm doing this and I'm not having to listen to y'all, I'm reading. Anyway, whatever. I don't need them. So welcome everyone. I'm so glad you're here. A lot of people have posted in the group and posted on the event their astrology chart reading. So before we get started, if you're like, I really want an astrology reading, I really want a taste of what this astrology is, and this is just a little mini reading, it's the best thing to do is to like go to astro.com or some other place and get a free circle chart. It's like the circle with the crazy lines and a bunch of symbols. You probably don't know what they mean. I know what they mean. And so if you post that along with any questions you have, I will do my best to give you a little mini reading today, okay? So astrology is a really powerful tool. It's an ancient science. I'd call it an intuitive science. It's an ancient science. It's been used for, I don't know, forever, since the Egyptians, really, as far back as I think we can trace it. Hi, Sheila. It's great to see you. Hi. Hi, Amber. Good to have you with us today. What a lovely day. I think you said your name was Nicole. I will be doing a reading for you. I made your own circle chart for you. Thanks for giving me your time and everything. Anyway, I'll be doing your reading in just a little bit. There's a couple people in front of you. What a lovely day. Okay, Nicole. Hi, Nikki. Good to see you. And Lynette, welcome. And I couldn't find a birth chart how-to without extra questions. Okay. I'm not doing a full death reading, Kristen. I'll do a natal chart for you or for your husband. I'm not going to do his death chart and all that. That requires a lot of time and energy, and I think it's fair for me to ask for you to pay for that energy and time. So I have a reading for that. It's called a mediumship or astrology death reading. So if you want to get that kind of reading, you can just book it at my website at divineandrogen.com. You can get your chart for free in just about any place, Sheila. You can just get a free natal chart. That's all you're looking for is your birth chart or your natal chart. So Sheila, you can get it at astro.com. You can just Google free astrology chart. There's probably a gazillion places to get it. Most astrologers use astro.com. Hi, Siobhan. And hi, Patty. Hi, Samantha. Welcome, everyone. You're welcome, Nicole. I appreciate that you posted ahead of time. I appreciate that. Patty, if you want a reading today, I'm doing astrology. So what you have to do is you just Google free astrology chart or go to astro.com and get a free circle chart. You just need the circle one with all the lines. You'll have to input your birthday and stuff like that. Your birthday, and hopefully you know your time of birth. Hi, Melissa. Okay. Thanks, Kristen, for understanding. It's a lot of work what I'm doing, and I'm the only person that I know that does it, that does what I do. Okay. Death astrology readings. I am the only person that does those. So they're a unique reading. So you won't find anyone that will give you a death astrology read. They'll give you a death reading, which is a little bit different than what I'm doing, because I'm combining mediumship with the death chart reading. There's a small number of people that will do death astrology, but usually it's like predicting your death or when you're going to die, which I don't find to be very accurate. You can predict how, but you can't really predict when. You're welcome, Sheila. I'm sure you'll find it. You got some time. Yeah, you can just post it here in the comments, Linnell. Eventually I'll get to the comments. I'm going to start with the ones that were posted in the event itself in the discussion because that was my directions. So I tend to give and then I'll move on to Nicole, and then I'll start looking for comments and things like that. So you have some time to get your image, and if you have any questions, like can you tell me about my career choices or something like that, just let me know. Okay. Hi, Maggie. Hi, Maggie. Good. Yeah. But Kristen, if you want me to look at your natal chart or even your loved one's death chart, I mean, your loved one's natal chart, I'll look at it and I'll tell you all about their personality. And I think that that's evidence as to how powerful the astrology is. It's okay, Lynette. It's okay. It's okay. I just figure why not give priority to people that follow directions, right? That's all. Uh So the chart that I'm talking about is called a natal chart or a birth chart or an astrology birth chart. Um, I can tell you a lot about the people that have passed on, but you'll just need to take their birthday and hopefully their time of birth and definitely their place of birth and just Google free astrology chart or go to astro.com and get a circle chart and it has a bunch of lines on it and a bunch of symbols. You probably have no idea what they mean, but I'm going to share them today and I'm going to talk about what I'm doing. Okay, so welcome everyone in the group, like Kristen and Debbie and Maria and Dawn. Dawn, I just told you what chart. Tracy Lee, Kathleen, Carol, welcome everyone. Welcome, Jackie. I can tell you about your son's personality, but as I mentioned, you'll need to get a circle chart. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Josie. And hi, Carly. Welcome. You can get a free astrology chart just about anywhere on the web. Hi, Dawn. And hi, Eva. Eva, I will look. I am looking right now at the event. That's where I'm going to start. I'm going to go to the event. Geez, if I can here. I'm going to first go to the event in the mediums group because I'm pretty sure there's some marked in the comments there and discussion. So as I mentioned, astrology's been around for yeah, Eva, I have your I have your chart. Yep. I have Eva's, I have Amber Marks, I have Samantha McCaffrey's, so I'll probably do them in that order I just said. Okay. Let me see if there's anyone else in here. Nikki, I got yours too. Nikki and Amber. Okay, so we're probably going to start with Eva because Eva was first. Eva was the first person she posted yesterday. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just share this with you. But you can just comment with it, Sheila, or put it in the event discussion area. It's just an image. You can take a screenshot of it if you want. So astrology's been around for like 1,000 or more, thousands of years. Um like um the Egyptians used astrology. Astrology shows up in the Bible. The three wise men, right, that found Jesus, they were using astrology. Okay. That's how they knew that a new like prophet would be born. Okay. Um and the Buddha knew astrology, and it goes back so far that frankly we can't trace it. We don't even know where it came from. And it's evolved since then. Lots of stuff has evolved, and there are lots of different types of astrology. I mostly pull from what we call Western astrology, but I also know some Vedic astrology. Stephanie, please post the image. I don't know what that is, but I'm not going to be able to get to it. That's your chart, and I'd have to log in under your name, Stephanie. So you need to just take a screenshot or save the image. If you click on it and then right click on it, you'll be able to save the image. If you're on your phone, click and hold with your finger, and it will give you the option to save the image. Anyway, or you can just take a screenshot by pushing your volume and your power button at the same time. Vedic is awesome. And I do know some Vedic astrology. Vedic, I would say that every type of astrology has its strength, right? So Vedic is particularly good for hi Hannah, great to see you. I'm glad you're here. Um so Vedic is really powerful and good for like prediction astrology, and certain aspects of astrology, okay? And then I would say for birth chart, though, I find that Western, particularly for people that live in modern countries, meaning like even India, because Vedic astrology comes from India, okay? But I read for people in India all the time. India has astrology very sort of built into their culture. They wouldn't dream of not marking the time of birth when a baby is born um because it would just be like a sin to them. You would just never do that. Okay. And because they feel like you're giving, it would be like not taking a picture of the baby as they were born. Okay. It's like weird. So in India and way back hundreds and thousands of years ago, people always marked the time and date that things happened so that they could look at the astrology chart. Now, we used to also use Western astrology, which is a lot of very popular, and I use that most of the time. Um, but I do pull from some Vedic belief systems. And and then and the nice thing about Western astrology is that it works for most people that live in a modern culture like India, England, most places in Europe, United States, Canada. Okay. So like people that live in sort of more progressive countries, I find that the Western astrology is more powerful. Now, there's different sorts of types. There's horary astrology where I can take your question and cast a chart based on your question. I can cast a chart based on your wedding date or your death date or your okay, insert thing here. And so that's what I do. I do a death astrology chart. I cast a chart based on your loved one's death as well. So this This is a very special type of birth chart very special type of reading that I do, where I take their birth chart, their death chart, and your birth chart, and I do and it takes me a good hour to go through their chart to give you validation, and their death chart to also give you validation, but also to help you understand why they died and when they died and how they died and what that meant. It's a really, really powerful, really powerful reading. Okay. Yeah, Kristen, I'm pretty sure I did see that I get it, but I don't have it up right now because I'm going to start with the people that posted first. Hi, Jen. Thanks for wishing. Yeah, my family's doing pretty good. The astrology is actually what got me through my son's when he was in a coma. So suddenly my son fell out while he was at work suddenly. And Stephanie, then post it to the event in the discussion area or send it to my messenger. Okay. And so anyway, then I looked at the astrology when my son was, in the hospital, and he was in a drug induced coma, and they were essentially saying that he could be brain dead and all this other crap. And I was like, I don't think he had a cardiac arrest. I mean, there is a major thing happening that would deliver messages about his genetics. Yes. And his genetics were essentially saying, well, you actually are diagnosed with HCM, which is the name of the genetic heart condition that I got that has showed up in my genetics. It comes from my father. It has challenged me, and now it challenges my son. But they thought that he had a cardiac arrest, and I was pretty sure he didn't. And I was pretty sure he wasn't brain dead. And all of that was from his astrology chart. By looking at his astrology chart and studying it, I knew. And I could tell his wife there, and she was she was relieved. She was like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "I'm sure, Lacey. He's not going to die right now because it's not in the stars right now." And he didn't. A couple days later, we woke him up, and he wasn't brain dead, just like I said. We got him to the proper hospital, and because this is a very special genetic condition, it needs to be seen by a special doctor, and so I got him to those places, and he was seen by those appropriate doctors. Okay, so that's what I mean. Like, astrology can help you get through really difficult moments. It can help you see what's the truth and what's really happening. With suicide, it is not destined, so it never shows up in the chart. But what does show up is their mental health. It does show up as being obsessed with death, or having, some really strong emotional challenges. And I can tell what they are, like if they're related to relationships or trauma or drug addiction or whatever. Okay. Um, so I can see all of that. I can also see when someone gets sick. Stephanie, I got your chart. I guess I got a message from you. So, um, and so, that's pretty much how this works. Okay. So astrology is really powerful. It can help you in any part of your life. Okay. So yes, it can help you understand the death of someone, but it can also help you understand, like, Jamie, if you have your chart, just send it to me. Put it in the event page or send a message to me. Um, I'll try to make sure you're not. I knew Stephanie wasn't going to be filtered, but I hope you don't get filtered. Okay, Patty. I think we're friends, Patty, so I'm pretty sure I should get your message. Um, okay. So, the thing is that the fun thing is about astrology is that it's just amazing. The accuracy is out of this world, and oftentimes it just really blows my mind, and it can really help you understand yourself, your children, your loved ones, and even your relationships. So there are so many layers. Exactly. What a lovely day. Exactly. There are so many layers to astrology. It's such a beautiful science. So let's get to the first one here. So the first one I have is Eva. So Eva, be sure that you see if I can zoom in. Yeah. I'm going to share Eva's chart. So I'm going to share your chart. So So Jen Dunworth, I see your message, but if you want it for free, I'm not doing death charts for free. If you want me to do a death chart um for your mother, and that's a whole reading that takes an entire hour. So I can't do that right. Oh boy. Okay. Sometimes I feel like I have to repeat myself. Do you guys feel like I repeat myself a lot? Okay. Okay, I have to separate it. Hold on. I have to separate it from StreamYard. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Well, I'm going to share this window. This is this is Eva's. Okay. We're going to try to zoom in a little bit here just so I can kind of get a good look at it. So, Eva, you're a Cancer sun and you are a Scorpio rising. Okay. No, look, we already have something in common. And you are a Gemini moon. Okay. And so first of all, being a Cancer sun, in case you didn't know this, first of all, you love to learn, always open-minded, always open to new horizons. And education is of a high value to you. Like, you love to learn. And cancers are also very sensitive. Their family is incredibly important to them. It might be the only thing that comes above education would be family and home. And it's represented by the crab because they because they hold that above, right? Okay. And with a Scorpio rising, now your family is very important to you, particularly at home. And I'd also say, oh, okay, you have a T-square going to it. I see that. Okay, so I'll look at that in just a second. But in the meantime, your Scorpio rising. Your Scorpio rising isn't incredibly strong, but it is strong enough for you to see the root of people. You probably have a good feeling about people. Like, you're like, I'm pretty sure that person is being dishonest. And then later you find out they are. So, Eva, if you could validate what I'm saying, that would be really great. If you can do that, I don't know where Eva is. I think Eva is in the group, maybe. So I have to jump from place to place because I'm in like 3 groups and like 5 platforms. So Eva, oh, I think you're over here. Yes, yes, yes. Here they are. Okay, yes. I can tell you so much. It's amazing. Exactly, Eva. So Eva is in the Mystical Connections group, and I'm gonna put their comments here in the thing. So right now they're saying yes, 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 and they're commenting on everything I'm saying. So far I'm on point. And then when we come back to Eva's chart, I can see there's Scorpio rising, and she's also a Gemini moon. So sometimes, Eva, you probably feel like your brain is super scattered. You are a chatterbox, especially if you're emotional, nervous, or anxious. Particularly also if you're mad, you're probably most likely to kind of talk about it, to speak your truth, and you got to say what you got to say, and that's it. You're not the type to kind of walk away and sit on it. You're the type to speak your mind, which, which, you know, um, and which could sometimes be okay and sometimes probably get you in a little trouble. Okay. Like you could probably get into trouble, I would imagine, at work. Okay. That at sometimes someone could piss you off at work. You would say something, and the next thing you know, you got trouble. Okay. So that would be one of your life challenges, is learning how to not speak. Now, you, Eva, are a little bit older, so you have what we call a progressed chart. It means some of these things might apply to you, like you might have grown out of them at this point, because what happens is when things are in a square or it's a life challenge, we learn how to deal with these things. So it's also a confirmation, Eva, if you um if you used to do these things and now you don't, because you're older now, so you've learned not to do those things. Like, don't, like, she's saying, oh my god, yes, probably to the work thing, right? Because she's like, oh my god, I gotta have to just keep my mouth shut. Okay. And that's Gemini moon. Okay. Gemini moon has to like kind of sit on themselves a little bit, even though they don't want to. Now, your biggest life challenge, actually, Eva, would involve education, but also spirituality, higher learning and spirituality, and revolutionary thinking, as well as communication. Those will really challenge your day-to-day life. And I'm trying to figure out how that would happen. It might have just had something to do with like maybe you really wanted higher education and couldn't get it. Maybe you had children at a young age. I would imagine you probably did. Did have children, maybe you didn't see it coming. In other words, you didn't know you were pregnant until you were pregnant. and and then and then you have a baby, but you probably always aspired for to be educated. um and higher learning is very common, so is spirituality, very important to you, highly important to you. And then also travel would also be very important to you. I don't know how much you've traveled, Eva, but I imagine you've traveled a lot. Eva, do you have any specific questions? Let me go back. Eva, do you have? Yeah, so she's saying it's true, but I couldn't do college. Right. So I'm sorry, Eva, that happened, but you can still do it. It's never too late. I truly believe in that with a Saturn and Cancer. I totally am there with you on that one. And um uh so Eva, if you have any specific questions, you let me know. Okay? And cuz that's about it. I don't know what else to tell you, what else you want to know. I'm never going to tell people how they want to how they might pass without them asking. I don't really look at that anyway. Most of the time I'm looking at your challenges in life and your blessings in life, what you're good at. I can see your family was very good, was very important to you, particularly your children. That would be the most important thing to you, your children. All right, Eva. Thank you. Thank you, Eva. It was good. It was right on. Yeah. And we can predict what's going to happen to Eva if Eva said, oh, I'm applying for a job next week, Hollis, um, or next month, which job should I take or something like that. I could help Eva with that. Okay. So, all right. Well, that was fun. That was fun doing that, eh? So now the next post that I have is right here in the same area. Here we are. Nikki is next in line. She posted yesterday, I think it was. Yep, yesterday. So I'm going to share it the same way. This is Nikki. Nikki, I assume you're here. I think you're here. I hope you're here. Let's see if I can find Nikki. Nikki, pipe up if you're here. Just say I'm here. Nikki, are you in the Mystical Connections group? Because I'm pretty sure Nikki's like a member of all these places. There we are. There's Nikki. Hi, Nikki. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. So you're watching on a page, probably Divine Androgen or some other page. Okay. So Nikki, this is your chart. What I can see in your chart right away is hold on, not my Zoom. Okay, Nikki. All right, Nikki. So you're a Gemini sun and a Virgo rising and a Cancer moon. And so right away when I'm looking at this, I'm like, wow, okay. So in a Gemini, as a Gemini sun, you also have a very busy mind. You also have Mercury and Venus. So you're a very intellectual person. You want to have intellectual conversations. And I wouldn't be surprised if you do some sort of intellectual work in the world. It's going to require communication. It's going to require some education or some sort of higher learning. And it will be very important to you. Okay. Um, And I also wonder if maybe sometimes with Gemini, especially on the MC like that, you may have had several very important jobs. Okay. And with a Capricorn moon, yep, that would also tell me that you're probably very reliable, very emotionally stable for your work. Gemini tends to have some sort of work with communication, or you can just validate the same way, Nikki. Um, okay, Nikki's laughing. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I got your message, Jamie. Yeah, I got it. Um, so you could just validate, Nikki, if any of this is true. I don't know exactly what you've done for a living, because Gemini tends to kind of bounce around for different careers, but and sometimes that's literally what they do. They actually have numerous careers. But this is also but you're pretty good at making money, and that will help you transform. And but you're also very good at communicating, extremely good at communicating. I would imagine that you speak, or you're maybe a teacher or a networker or something like that. With a Virgo rising, it's going to make you incredibly sensitive. So it could also be like some sort of like social worker or counselor or something like that, where you help people, where you're in service. Okay, Nikki said, I was a receptionist with the university here and a couple of doctor's offices. So as you can see, she has to work with people. She has to speak. She has to talk. You're probably talking most of the day, Nikki. And, because being a receptionist in a university, you're answering the phone all day long. And then in a doctor's office, it's the same. And as I mentioned, you would have several different types of jobs, right? So I'm sure it was very different to work in the university versus working in a doctor's office. It's also kind of intellectual. You have a lot of things going on at the same time, and being able to juggle a lot of things. That's a Gemini trait, being able to juggle a lot of things. And Nikki's saying, I'm very sensitive. That's right. As a Virgo rising, you will be very sensitive. And the interesting thing is that your Mercury, which is the ruler of Virgo and Gemini, is up in your MC. So your work will also be incredibly important to you. What you're doing in the world, even though you may not stay with the same career, it will pretty much help you a little bit with your identity. Um, Grin Yang, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Um, please, please put the image, or send the image in the event discussion area or something like that. That link won't work for me. Grinyang. You're doing childcare now, Nikki. Yeah, so childcare very much makes sense, because because typically as we age, we kind of grow into our rising sign and become more of our rising sign and less of our sun sign. And so your rising sign is getting stronger, and Virgo is in service. Virgo loves to be in service, and Virgos are very good at holding space for others, and they're pretty good with kids too. And you have moon in Capricorn, so that's also going to keep you pretty emotionally stable. Even though you might be sensitive, you're probably not likely to like have let's see, where's your Mars? Oh, it's in Taurus. So you're more likely to stay relaxed, stay grounded. You're not likely to attack people or anything like that. You're like more likely to like kind of go brew on it somewhere. Um but you'll probably speak your truth, but you'll probably do it in what I would call a clean way. So you won't like someone won't piss you off and you'll go off the handle. It's more likely that you'll get mad, and then you'll figure out a way to speak your truth and then come back and speak your truth. Yep. She brews by herself. Yep. So, did you have any special questions, Nikki? I don't know. Let me just look again. I don't think you posted any special question. So, nope. I will say that yeah, you're life isn't going to be terribly hard for you. It actually will probably get really good in 2025. So if there's been some transformation you've been working on for yourself, um I would strongly suggest that you look in the events area, Grin Yang. Look in the events area. So if anything's been going on for you, you'll probably see a huge change in 2025. Okay, Nikki? Um, if you've been challenged with anything like that, especially around your identity and who you are and your work in the world in particular. Okay? It could take on a new face somehow, especially working with kids. Okay? All right. Hopefully that was helpful for you, Nikki. Is absolutely validating, I think. Am I still going on my trip in November? Eva asked. Let me look real quick, Eva. Are you still going on your trip? Why wouldn't you go on your trip in November? Sure. Why wouldn't you go? Is there something going on to keep you from it? Saturn might be directly across. No, well, in November. This November, I assume. So the answer is yeah. There might be something with the system. Are you worried about the system, Eva? Yeah, I think it'd be just fine. The system could get in the way. Are you going to a foreign country or something? Okay. All right. So now we'll go on to the next person that posted in order, which will be Amber Marks. So I'm going to share this now, Amber. Oh, it was already shared. Okay. Oh, you're trying to figure out who you are, Nikki? Well, Nikki, it will all make sense in 2025. Okay? After this election, after the new year, you'll really come into who you are. Okay? Especially with your identity. And it may also have something to do with the work you're doing in the world. Okay? You're welcome. You are welcome. Amber, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. Oh, Eva, no, I don't think you'll be sick. That would be your sixth house, house of health. I'll look again in a minute. Okay, Amber. Amber says, "What are my gifts and talents? What was my past life like? What is my calling in this lifetime? And what does it predict for my marriage?" Well, for your marriage, I would say the only thing about that is I can be more accurate when I have your spouse's chart. Okay. Am I sharing this correctly? No. Let me share this. There we go. Now, this is Amber's chart. So, Amber, that's called a synastry reading, what you're asking for. I can look at what relationships will be generally for you, but you are in your 30s, so you've gone through a lot of changes. And so a lot of things have changed for you. So things have improved and gotten better for you, Amber. So, I'm not doing Jen. I am not doing death charts. I am doing birth charts. I will do the birth chart of your loved one, but if you want a death chart reading, that takes an hour. So it would take this entire thing just for you, and that would be very unfair to everyone else. Okay, so instead I'm asking you to pay for it and schedule a reading with me directly. These are little mini readings, 5 minutes. Okay? Amber, what are my gifts and talents? Well, let's first, you probably have lots of them. You're a Cancer sun. Of course, you have tons of talents. And if you didn't know it, I see. That comes from your childhood, actually. Okay, so I can see that you have end relationships. So I don't know what relationships you were in when you were a child, or maybe even relationships earlier in your life. I mean, you're 30, so you've probably had a few relationships that maybe didn't work out well or something like that. But sometimes you feel like you're not worthy. And that has a lot to do. Um, yes, with the Capricorn rising, but it has more to do with your Cancer sun. Your Cancer sun is actually, your sun is what we call afflicted. It's also blessed. So you have a little bit of both. Okay. Now, it has to do with this South Node retrograde, which tells me a little bit about your past and usually refers to your childhood and your past lives. So something from your past life is coming forward and challenging you with your self-worth. Now, this could just be generational trauma, particularly because your sun is, see this blue line that goes up here to Pluto retrograde in Scorpio, and this is a whole generational marking up in the MC. So this tells me a lot about your personal identity with what's happening in the world. So like all the things that are happening in the world where we're working on sort of resolving generational trauma is actually part of your identity. So if you ever questioned that, it is absolutely true. Okay, Amber? So, like, your gifts and talents actually have a lot to do with that because you're going to transform those your day-to-day life, your day-to-day living. You're going to heal yourself and work on becoming a healer. And you're also really good at talking to kids, huh? You're particularly good with kids. You're really good as a leader for children and taking action with children, particularly helping them to feel loved and honored. Do you have kids, Amber? I don't know if you have kids yet, but let me go back to the thing. She says, "Wow, yes." And Amber says, "I have no friends. Honestly, I can't stand people." That's probably because of what's going on right now, Amber. That has a lot to do with Pluto in Capricorn. It started happening like during the pandemic, and the Pluto in Capricorn is meant to be like a um Pluto in Capricorn makes us all question our system, question how things are going. Okay. Um And mine looks basic, and I will definitely get one soon. Yeah, it's just the software that you're using. It's not basic, Amber. It's just that not as many aspects. That has what we call tighter orbs. Okay. Um you're in a transformation for the past 2 years. That's because of Pluto, okay? So Pluto's over there in Capricorn, okay? Which is like, let me point to it. It's right here. Okay, or sorry, it's right here on your ascendant, okay? So you're going to go through a lot of personal transformation right now. It's going to be really powerful for you. It's going to change everything about you. Okay? It's going to help you resolve your generational trauma. So if you find yourself moved with things like the BLM movement or somatic healing or things like that, you have to get out there. You have to really take in the lessons from these generational sort of trauma that we're healing as a collective. Okay. So if you are wondering, yes, it has a lot to do with who you are, Amber. What we're going through as a country and and the world as humans, that's part of who you are. I have 3, but I don't know. I feel like I don't have a gift with kids. You actually do, Amber. Although sometimes you might kind of lose your temper a little bit, you actually are really good and they really look up to you as a female leader. You have the potential to be a really strong female leader. I can show you in the chart where that is. This is a house of children right here. Your moon is there in Gemini. Okay, so that means that you're good at talking to them. Okay, and Gemini's right up here in Leo. So they're going to listen to you. They're going to be inspired by what you have to say. And you'll probably try to help them, especially as they get older. And here's Mars, where you'll take the action. And here's Venus, which is about that love. So sometimes you may even play the mother father role for children. Okay. And you may play both roles, and that's okay. Um, I'm sure you haven't enjoyed people. That actually has more to do with your Capricorn rising and also your Cancer sun. Cancer suns aren't necessarily social people. Mm-mm. The Gemini moon is the most social part about you, and it's in the house of kids. So you'll want to spend most of the time with either your children or your romantic loved person. Okay? The person you're in love with. She does have a son. Yep. She said, "You're reading me." I love it. I've always dreamed of being a great leader lately. That's right, Amber, because what's supposed to happen for you is you're supposed to recognize those leadership qualities and come into them. It's very normal to not arrive at them until after you're 30. So that's what's happened. You've had what we call in astrology your Saturn returns. In fact, astrologers don't see you as grown up until you've gone through that. Okay. So, welcome to the adult world. You are a fresh adult in our eyes because you're just learning what it means to be grown up. Okay. I know you're like, I've been paying my own bills for years, right? Okay. But that's not what we're talking about. And although mundanely, and she says, I do, Amber says, I do. Now, although mundanely, Amber, you might be considered grown up, you really didn't grow up until you've experienced the things that you've experienced in the last 5 years. Okay. Yeah, in the like 5, 10 years, you probably feel like you aged. Okay. That's your Saturn returns. Okay. It happens somewhere between about 27 and 30. And you don't really grow into it until you're like 32, 33, 34. Yeah, and I bet you do have severe depression, Amber. Yep. But you're going to overcome that because of the generational trauma is going to change that for you. Okay? Yeah. So this is all supposed to happen for you. Your past life actually has something to do with the generational trauma you're bringing through. And so I would almost bet it may even have something to do with being educated or having access to education. Um, and I don't, sometimes I feel that people that have this kind of marking for their past life, I think sometimes I feel like it might have had something to do with like either race or class or something like that that kept you in a past life from growing. Like kept you like you didn't have access to the education because you were black, right? Okay. And then you know 100 years ago we didn't give black people proper access to things that they deserved, right? Okay. And so that's an oppression. And that's what I'm talking about. Maybe you were gay, maybe you were, okay, anything like that. How do I predict your marriage? Wow, your marriage is very intensely beautiful. And I would love to look at your husband's chart. I bet or your partners, don't let me assume you're heterosexual. That is so not me. Um, and your partner, just want to be careful that your partner and you, if you are trauma bonded, that the two of you work through your trauma so that it's not playing off of each other. Okay. So I would recommend a synastry reading for you, Amber. I'm glad that you feel better now. It's because you're coming out of it. Pluto's going to finish up in Capricorn on your rising and move on. Um, I'm not surprised that you think you're bisexual, actually, Amber. You know what? I study queer people's charts. Let me show you right here. You actually have Mars and Venus just 3 degrees apart in Leo. And Leo, sometimes I notice when people have Mars and Venus together in the same sign, especially they're just a couple degrees apart, I notice that that often leads people to like challenge the gender norms, if you get what I'm saying. So you might sort of be a strong woman and very in yourself and very like, I'm a powerful woman and, not afraid to show that power. Okay. And it might make you feel a little bi sometimes, or it might make you attracted to women that are like what I just described, butch women. Okay. You might be attracted to actually, because it's in your seventh house of relationships. Yep. So Mars and Venus up here in the seventh house. It shows that you might be related to men and women, right? Because Mars represents masculinity and men, and Venus represents women and femininity. And so when you put the two together, you might be attracted to like butch women or strong women or women in their power. Okay. um You're attracted to them. Yeah. But you're also a strong leader, so I wouldn't be surprised your strength also coming out, okay? Especially as you get a little bit older. Okay? Yeah. All right, Amber. It's fun reading you. I'm glad you and that's just a little mini reading of what happens. Oops. That's just a little mini reading of how this kind of stuff works, okay? Um and let me get back to I closed the event like a silly dud. Because I have another person on there that posted. So who else posted in the event? Um, that's what I put in the event description. It pays to read the description or instructions for me. Always, it will always pay. It will serve you well if you read the instructions when Hollis posts instructions. Okay. Okay. Next in line is Samantha. All right, Samantha. Here we go. Samantha, who is it? Samantha R. McCaffrey. Okay. Samantha McCaffrey. I have to find you. So please post wherever you are. You're in one of these groups or you're on one of my pages. Here you are. Welcome, Samantha. I found you. All right. Okay. Oops. So now I'm going to share this. So, Samantha, you can just validate what I'm saying by saying yes or exactly, or you can ask any question you'd like. I don't think you asked a question, but I will look a little bit closer here. Okay, looks pretty one-sided. Nah, it's just that it's focused in that area. Um, always felt like I was meant to make a difference somehow. Can it tell me in what way? Yes, it can. The beauty of it. Okay, Samantha? So you are very focused and you're a Scorpio rising. So first of all, you're a Libra. So sometimes you probably give more than you should, and you're working on becoming more aware of that. You've probably caught it recently. You probably did it for a long time, and you're like, why do I give so much? I really don't have to give that much. But it's just kind of your personality as a Libra. You're a Scorpio rising. Scorpio rising is very much at the root of things. So you're very good at finding the root of things. And interestingly, your Mercury is here in your identity, and it's in a square to Mars up here at MC in Leo. I wonder what kind of powerful spiritual men you know, or teachers, or something like that, that you might call out. Um, and uh, yep. I don't know if you called them out or what, but I wouldn't be surprised if you did. It is retrograde, so you may not have discovered that quite yet. But I know, what a lovely day. I know you're still here, but like I said, you got to get in line. These are the people that posted like yesterday. Okay. Um, and, but it's also in a trine to Saturn, which is in retrograde, which is in your home. So this probably actually helps you in your home because you have to work on speaking your truth, Samantha. And that will be that will be a big, huge thing for you. Learning to speak your truth, learning to call people out on things, fulfilling your destiny in that way, becoming the spiritual person and identifying with your spirituality, all of those will be very important. Now, the thing is that you sometimes won't see how you give too much, and that might affect your third eye and your psychic abilities. So, and your intuition. So, it might just mean that you drain yourself more than you should, if that makes sense, Samantha. So if you drain yourself, super drain yourself, you won't be able to tap into your psychic abilities. And that's why mediums can only do a few readings a day usually, because if we do like 20 readings a day, we'd be exhausted. 10 readings, even 5 readings a day will pretty much exhaust most mediums. We wouldn't be able to keep that up day in and day out. We can only do 2 or 3, maybe 4 readings in a day if you have a lot of stamina. Okay? And you probably won't be able to do 4 readings every day all day for like 5 days in a row. Mm-mm. Okay? Um and then on top of that, Mercury is on your ascendant. So this is very much about your identity, speaking your truth, what's truly important to you, particularly in relation to your temper, masculinity, and your action as a leader. I think you might even be a spiritual leader, but it's probably going to take a while for you to come into that. Also, your psychic abilities, your intuition, and all of that is very grounded in Capricorn. So if you're wondering how to bring that stuff through, I'd tell you to use stones and things like that. Earthy type of stuff. Samantha says that makes sense. Corrine, I can't use the link. The link, I have to be able to log into your account, and I'm not doing that. Okay. I would rather you take an image, and I'm only doing it if you're here. You're always drained. Samantha, the reason that you're always drained is because you're giving too much. So you need to back that up a little bit, but you won't see it. Other people might see it before you do. So when somebody says, so if somebody says to you, "Are you sure this is okay, Samantha? Maybe we should stop here." And you're like, "Oh, no, no, no. Don't do that. Don't do that." That's the part. So when they say, "Are you sure this is okay?" I want you to stop. Work on doing that. Listening to that person or listening to that voice in the back of your head that's like, "Stop now. You don't have to give anymore. You've done your best. That's all you have to give." Okay? I hope you get that, Samantha. That, yep. And then ground in earthy type spiritualities. I offer metaphysical coaching, and I usually use your astrology chart to help you with that. And you could probably also benefit from an in-depth natal chart reading, just so you could understand yourself a little bit. Yeah, you don't know how to stop. I know, Samantha, but that's okay. All right. You got to learn how to stop, Samantha. You got to learn how to stop. All right. So now I'm going to go back up here, and I think Lynette posted in the thing. Here we go. All right. So Lynette is hopefully you guys can still see this. Lynette, are you here? You're welcome, Samantha. Corrine, you sent a photo and posted it where you said to post. You posted it in the events page? Okay, well, that's where I'm at right now, working through those photos one at a time. Zane's Tarot. What a weirdo. Let the power of darkness chill you out. I don't know why he's saying that. Okay, Lynette. Hi, Lynette. All right, Lynette. It's okay, Jamie. I got yours in the message. I'm gonna move on from the event page eventually. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate that. Okay. So, Lynn, you can see your chart there. You are a Sagittarius. Wow. And you're also a Sagittarius rising. So, your identity is actually quite strong. You are very strong in your identity. Lynette, do you like to travel by any chance? Um, you're probably very interested in traveling, and you probably have a vision of traveling if you haven't traveled yet. You will travel. It will change who you are. It will change your entire identity. Um, Relationships will pull you into travel more than anything else is probably what will happen. Lynette, She's like, go ahead, talk about travel. I want to hear it, right? Do you have any questions, Lynette? Um, so with Jupiter in Gemini, this is going to be a lot about relationships. You're going to always want to travel with somebody. Um, and you're also a Taurus moon, so you're a double Sag. You're a Sag sun, Sag rising, and a Taurus moon. The issue with your Taurus moon is that it will sometimes keep you from growing, but you will change. It just take you a little longer to get on board. That's all. Particularly when it comes to kids. Do you have kids? Sometimes they'll probably change faster than you're ready to change. You'll be like, slow down. Um, resources will come to you fairly easily. But at times you'll probably spend them on your kids before you spend them on travel. So, yep. My bucket list is to RV across the US. You'll probably do that after you have kids, after your kids are grown, Lynette. Yep. She does have kids. I'm not surprised to hear that because you have Moon, which is mother, in Taurus. Your kids probably grow up faster than you're ready to accept. In other words, your kids grow and you're like, oh my gosh, you were just 2 and now you're 5. Okay. And so that will be a little bit of a stressor for you. um, and that's pretty much how it goes. Lynette, do you have any special questions? I'll look at it again. Your money will come in by working. You'll actually be pretty good at it, although it might get slowed down a little bit from your kids. You just had your Saturn returns. Oh, you just had your second Saturn return, so now it's about your legacy. So you're probably having grandkids now, huh? You ready for that? You will travel in an RV across the US as long as you keep your mind on it, and it will probably be with somebody else. Okay. All right, Lynette. um, so Lynette said they are grown now, and I still think the youngest is like 16 instead of 27. I don't really see what I mean, Lynette. I don't really know what to ask. I'm just curious about what it means. Well, and here you can see that I can answer any question you want to know. Anything you want to know, it's there. And that's what astrology is all about. I just told you a bunch of things about you. There is no way I knew about those. I learned them just by looking at your chart. So, these different sort of pieces of the pie cover different sections of your life. Like the first house is your identity, the second house is money and resources. The third house, you can see the pieces of the pie. You see the numbers here: 1, 2, 3. 3 is community, siblings. Fourth house is your child, your origin, your family of origin, and your home. And the fifth house is children, grandchildren, and romance. The sixth house is your day-to-day life and your health. And the seventh house is relationships, all relationships, love relationships, but also like friendships and other relationships like work related. Eighth house is your shadow, sex, death, and taxes, everything taboo that you don't want to talk about. There it is in the eighth house. And the ninth house is about travel, higher learning, and spirituality. And I can see that you have a pretty strong spiritual faith. It's pretty progressive and sort of forward facing, very much probably more about consciousness and things like that than it is about religion. And then in the 10th house here is career. This MC, this dark line at the top is your career. 10th house is career. 11th house is like people particularly people in power that and other people that might pull you upwards in some way. And then and the 12th house here is unseen by you but seen by others. And as a result, some of these things might be hidden from you. It also represents like institutions, psychic, and things like that. Okay, psychic abilities. So you're probably a channeler, but you'll channel better when you reach out when you're traveling. Actually, so you'll probably be better at channeling when you're traveling. Thank you. Can you tell if my wayward son is going to get it together? Well, I would need to look at your wayward son's chart. And what do you mean by get it together? How do we define that? So that's not about you, that's about your son. I'd need to look at his chart, but I bet you know when he was born. So yes, I can look at your son's chart and tell you. Okay. So, all right. Lynette, and now this is Tessie. Tessie, are you somewhere in the group? Tessie, are you here? Tessie Frederick, I'm looking for you. Tessie Frederick. Oh, there you are. You're a very quiet person, Tessie. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. All right, Tessie. You are Scorpio. You are Scorpio, son. No wonder you're quiet and mysterious back there, not saying a whole lot. Libra rising. And interestingly, your moon is directly across from your sun. So what does that mean? Well, it means that sometimes you'll be very much in your identity and sometimes you'll be very much in your emotions, which your emotions won't always drive you to change. So like you could sometimes feel a little stuck sometimes in your emotions. It just requires a little extra movement forward. Um, it usually just is a matter of time, usually, Tessie. And you just need to spend a little bit of time on it. In other words, you might just need to spend a little bit more time with those emotions, if you get what I'm saying. You're a Scorpio sun, so you're probably fairly, most people probably see you as fairly attractive. It's in the first house, so this is what you look like. And they also probably intimidated by you. And sometimes you probably have some secrets and some mysteries that you keep to yourself that you're not really willing to share with others. And also, you very much see the root of things, and you can tell when people are lying to you. Um, so those Scorpios, right? You don't want to draw attention, and that's actually the part of you that's like that wants to keep certain emotional parts of you private. Okay, so I'm surprised you're even doing this reading publicly. Frankly, you must be very brave to do that. Do you have a specific question, Tessie? Let me go back and look and see. No, I didn't see a question, but if you have a question, put it in the chat. The other thing that I see, um, you have Pluto on the ascendant. So it makes me think about, see, Tessie's even wondering, why the hell did I do this? Right? Okay. Um, I'm wondering, Tessie, have you lost some people in your life? Like, I'm not talking about one person. I'm talking about a couple maybe, or it really is a big impact on you. You've lost someone really important or incredibly close. Pluto has a lot to do with death. So if you haven't lost someone, I would imagine that you have some of your own ideas about death or your own ideas about the other side and things like that. Yep, you just lost a son. I'm not surprised to hear that. In fact, that's probably his picture right there. Um, and, um, you know, it's right on your ascendant there. This is your chart, right, Tessie? Yeah, 1981. Um, Tessie, is this your chart? Yeah. Um, so, uh, I hope that you guys will tell me if it's your loved one. Okay. Um, so, because Pluto on the ascendant like that just means that death is really going to change you. And I hope, Tessie, that you don't spend too much time obsessing about like the other side and everything that has to do with death. But it could become a very centralized focus for you, especially right now and probably just recently. But that will pass in 25. You'll start to feel as that passes. Okay. As Pluto moves on into Aquarius, it will move away from what's down here, which is your most intimate part. And so, me pointing out that Pluto right away, but I'm a Scorpio rising, so I'm going to see the root of things right away as well. Okay. So, and I would say that You know, um, I know that it's probably really hard for you, and what I want to tell you is I would strongly suggest that you take your emotions to help you heal from this death, this grief, is to take your emotions to the occult. So choosing to be here in this reading and get readings and things like that will be therapeutic for you because your moon is in the 8th house in Taurus. It will help you change, it will help you transform, it will help you sit with your emotions, get in touch with them, and then heal them. Okay? And to find and to discover what you really believe about the other side and death. Okay? All right, Tessie, I hope that was helpful. I think that's the most helpful thing I could probably offer you right now. I'm sure we could find more if we were in a reading together, but I'm just saying for a quick reading, I see right away that that's probably the best way you could help yourself right now. Okay, Tessie, because I know that you're probably missing your son. All right. So I think that was the last one in the discussion area. I'll refresh and double check. But I also have some messages and I have one reading, someone in YouTube, Nicole in YouTube. What's your day? What's your name? Uh, what a lovely day. Are you here? Are you here? What a lovely day. You started the right before. Yay, you were patient. You were patient. Okay, Angela, I'll look for it, but I'm trying to do them in order. This person gave it to me before this even started. Okay. Okay. So, I'm actually going to be sharing my software. This is called Astro Gold. And Nicole, it says freebie because I don't know what your last name is. Okay. And it's also an indicator that I can delete this if I'd like to. Okay. This is my software. This is the professional software I use called Astro Gold. Now, what I can see about you, Nicole, right away is that you're a Gemini, you're a Sagittarius rising, and you're a Taurus moon. And I can see that you've had some pretty strong challenges in your life, particularly about where you came from. Did you grow up really poor, or grow up oppressed, or whatever like that? You put it in 2 days ago, Angela? Okay, I'll have to find the event. Oh boy, I don't know. I'll have to keep looking in the event. I don't know where it is, Angela. I'll have to. Did you put it under Psychic Insights event? Tell me what event you put it under. Let me try to find it. Let's see. I'm looking in the event discussion. Nope, none there. Discussion. Okay, I found a few more. But I haven't found yours yet, Angela. Oh, now I found it. Okay, you put it in the comments. I'm sorry. I missed it down there somehow. I don't know how I did that. But I found Kareen's too. Okay. All right. Sorry, Kareen. I don't know if Kareen's still here, but I'll get to you. I'll do yours next, Angela. Okay. So I left yours up. Um, yeah, your family struggle with money, Nicole. I can see that. Um, you had a near death with your twin. Ouch, huh? Yeah. So this is about your past life, and this tells me a lot about your childhood and stuff. There was probably a lot of things that probably happened that have really traumatized you, that have really made life really hard for you. Including I can see the actual near death experience right here. You can see past, and this is mother. Did it happen when you guys were like born or when you were babies or something? Because it's in a square to Pluto right here. Pluto represents death. And then there's this, you can see all these red lines and a big red X. Okay, this is a lot about what you struggle with, Nicole. And I would say that you have some pretty strong struggles, but I would also say you have a lot of gifts. Okay, you're very revolutionary, you're very good at moving forward and letting crap go and becoming independent, and being an independent person. You're very good at speaking your mind in relationships, which is actually better than you think it is. It's actually a great strategy. And even though you may not end up with tons of relationships right away, you'll end up with the right relationship, because if they can listen to you, then they are more likely to love you. Okay? Um oh. Nicole, what I'm talking about, the oppression would be happening when you were a child. And so poverty is oppression. Okay. Um, when you were born. Yep. So that's that. See that little question mark in the eighth house there? That is your mother. And that has a lot to do with when you were born. And you could see a big red line going here to Uranus and Neptune. And it's also in a square over here to Pluto. And Pluto's about death. So it would tell me that there was some sort of thing happened. And so yes, on your validating all these things, and I do seem to struggle with that. Yeah. So Nicole, it's really about, for you, it's about embracing the new and moving forward and becoming who you are. And that's one of the hardest things that you'll actually struggle with the Taurus moon. Taurus moon, like, it's like a bull, right? Like, the bull doesn't want to take off at first, and the bull sees you're waving the red flag over there, and the bull sees where they got to go, and they're not really sure they want to take off. But when they take off, get out of the way, right? Okay, so once you decide, you're going. And that's actually really good. And in relationships, it will be really good for you, it's particularly with marriage. So if you're allowed to think about it for a while, if you're allowed to spend some time with it, that'll be good. And the Mars is in a square to Aries. So this tells me a little bit about action for you in relation to home. There could be some things that hold you back, particularly at home, particularly do they have some belief systems or something about work and life and what's the right way to live or something, especially about money and values, things like that. It could actually keep you back, could actually keep you from doing what you're supposed to do. So if you can move on from your parents, yeah, your parents, that's exactly what I'm talking about, your parents. Um, yeah, you need to move on. You need to try to get out of there to the best of your ability. Okay, Nicole? So find a way out to the best you can. You know, you're 30 years old, right? And or just about 30. And what I'm going to tell you is that right now, what I just added is the transits. This is the where everything is in the sky right now. And you can see the moon is on Jupiter and Ceres here, and I am telling you about the trauma that follows you from your childhood, right? And that's exactly what this is. And if we come down here, we can see Jupiter over here in relationships, and we can see Chiron has moved across Mars. So you know you need to go on soon enough. Soon enough, you're gonna move. You're gonna get out of there. You're gonna leave. Particularly as Pluto moves into Aquarius in 2025. Can you see if I'm LGBTQ? Let's see here. Well, oh, let me shoot. All right. So, well, you're Gemini. So, and you have Mercury in Gemini, and it's in relationships. So it almost makes me think, are you bi? And then on top of that, oh, your Venus is in Taurus. So that's also in its strength in day-to-day life, romantic relationships. Are you attracted to women, Nicole? I would imagine that you are attracted to women, um, in particular, um, to the sensitivity and the emotional sort of feminine energy. Okay, okay, yeah, you're attracted to feminine. That's exactly what I'm talking about, like that sort of feminine, um, that sort of emotional. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That emotional, sort of sensitive. So if you met a person that happened to have that was assigned male at birth, and even if they identify as trans woman, you would still probably find them attractive as long as they were emotionally sensitive and in touch with their emotions. That's the part that's really going to sort of turn you on. It's really going to be the part that really connects you with them. Okay, you have to feel. So, what do they call that? Not pansexual. Shoot, I've forgotten the word. Where you're sort of emotionally attracted to people. So it's going to probably be less about what they look like, and so gender, like their assigned sex at birth, probably won't matter. But what will matter is their emotions. Are they like? I wouldn't be surprised if you were attracted to yeah, to even like Taurus and possibly even Pisces. I wouldn't be surprised if you built a home with a Pisces someday. Yeah. I have noticed I'm attracted to opposite of gender. Oh, like it doesn't matter? Like the opposite of gender? That's interesting. I love looking at queer people's charts. It's fascinating to me. I love to find your queerness. How does it show up for you? And then I like to find out and oftentimes you guys also people also educate me and they're like, oh, and this is how I feel about that, or this is how it works for me, or in relationships. Also, because your house of relationships is run by Gemini, i would also um I would also imagine that you're going to want someone that can do stuff with you. That's kind of like quote unquote your twin. Not that they look like you, but you're going to want a person that can like do things with you, be at your side. That's the kind of relationship that's what's going to make you happy. You like women more masculine and I like my men more feminine. I don't think that's that strange, Nicole. I actually have a very similar um sort of attraction if I was to try to describe it in words. Um yeah, you want a partner. That's what I'm saying. Nicole, you want a partner. You want someone that can be at your side. And I think that's also why you want their emotions to be available. Okay? So, Nicole, I'm happy that I could give you that little mini reading. You will be in relationship soon. As I said, you may not be in many relationships, but when you are, you will be in the right one, mostly because you speak your truth. Congratulations. It's actually good because you don't want to have to go through a whole bunch of really hard relationships, okay? So it's actually a blessing. Consider it a blessing. All right, you're welcome. So, Nicole hasn't been in a relationship yet, and they do love a great partner, which is very much Gemini on the seventh house. Yeah, so don't worry about it. Just go with the flow. Get yourself out of your family's home, okay? Get out of your parents' house. It'll be good for you. Okay, now that I found those, where did that go? Okay, Angela, I have yours open. Angela, I'm assuming you're still here. Grin Yang, I probably won't have enough time anyway. All right, so Angela, I know you're in here somewhere. Let me share it. Yep, there you are. Okay. It's not sharing. Oh, because this is on there. Okay. There we go. Angela, this is your chart. Oops, go back to this. Angela, this is your chart. What was my past life like? We'll start there. So, first of all, you're an Aquarius sun, Angela. You probably knew that. You're a Libra rising. Very, very important because you'll become more and more Libra as you get older. And you are an Aries moon. So Aries moon, I'm going, oh boy. Well, Aries moons are really good in a lot of ways because they'll be the first ones to take off and stuff like that. But also, your temper could probably sometimes get you in trouble, particularly in relationships, particularly when people really tick you off when they don't hear your truth or they don't hear what you're saying or they're not listening or something like that. It's really gonna piss you off and you're gonna let them know. Um, And it may be when you do that that it's particularly sort of deep emotional, um, really deep emotional stuff. And you'll be like, I can't believe you're pulling this deep emotional thing out of me. And so when that happens, particularly in relationships, it has a lot to do with who you are. It's because you'll want harmony. Generally, you want harmony in your life. You're not going to put up with any bullshit, is also what I'm saying. uh, Aries moon is not going to put up with shit. Am I of Caribbean descent? It doesn't always tell me that kind of thing, Angela. Um, Past life. Here it is. Ooh. So I would also imagine in a past life, and look, you're carrying the wound from, because Chiron and the South Node are conjunct. They're together in the house of relationships in Aries. That tells me that in a past life, you were probably in a war. So I wouldn't be surprised if you hate war now, or war really triggers you and gets you upset. It's just like facts. Right? Exactly. But also, like, in the past life, you were in a war. So there may be times that, like, you come at it with like this warlike attitude because of your Aries moon, but you won't like that. It will drive you crazy when people get you to that point. That will be the worst way to, it will not be your favorite way to be. It's a wound that you carry from a past life, actually. Akashic Records is a little bit more clear. So if you want that kind of reading, it's a little different. What is your purpose here on Earth? Well, it actually has a lot to do with your identity, relationships, and learning to balance relationships and independence. That's actually, I know it seems strange, but that's actually your biggest thing other than higher education. But I think the higher education is going to feed into what I just said, which is like having that critical thinking where you can be like, okay, so I've given this much to this person, because you're a Libra rising. So there's a part of you that will overgive, and then that will piss you off. Okay. You'll even be mad at yourself for overgiving. Okay. And then you'll be like, oh, why did I do that? Right. Okay. And then when you find that balance, you will influence others as a result. You will be a living example of that. So people will actually be inspired by your leadership and your ability to balance how much you give and how much you lead, and put that together. Okay? So it's finding that balance, okay? And that's really like how much you give a relationship and how much is independent. I know I have a very similar placement, but they're in different signs. So your South Node is in Aries, and that's really about relationships and where you've come from and stuff like that. And so there may even be times that um, you feel really connected to people for reasons unknown, probably has something to do with your past life. So if you ever wonder that, it is true. It's coming from your past life. Yes, that's happening. Just want to validate that because you'll probably feel that. And then it's, the North Node is over there in Libra in your first house, which is your identity and who you are. So not getting lost in relationships, not losing yourself. And I'm sure you've probably already done that. Um, Yep. I'm very independent, and it drives me nuts when people try to control me. Right. Yep, that's completely and you're trying to find a balance too. And I don't know where you're at in relationships, but I'm also betting you're trying to find a balance and like being in long-term loving relationships with people, not being too aloof because you're too independent, and trying to be like sort of in the middle. That's actually your that's actually like one of your big it's like that's like your big thing in life. Like it could be something that you struggle with most of your life. It's so hard. Yeah, I get it. but this is your challenge this lifetime, okay? So Angela, you were definitely in a war before. I don't know what war, but we could, maybe do an Akashic records and get more detail on that. But you were in a war in the past. You may have even been like some sort of warrior, okay? But you definitely fought in a war. And so that's as far as your work goes. Well, okay, so your MC's up at Cancer, and Cancer is very much about home. I wouldn't be surprised if you worked from home. Your dad was in the Vietnam War, right, Angela? And then what about before that? Like, do you have, and so, war sort of runs probably in your family a little bit. There might be some generational trauma around that. Okay. That's something that you'll come through, that people have to kind of work through, generation after generation. With a Cancer MC, and that's at the top of the sky here. This is that big black line pointing up here at Cancer. Cancer is very educated, higher learning, but it also has to do with home and working from home and emotional. Can sometimes be a great counselor, be really good at helping others and things like that. That could be also part of your um, could also be part of your experience. You've worked from home for the past 17 years. I believe that. hmm Yeah, because Cancer's up there and your moon is in the sixth house. So if you just take a look here, Cancer's up here, moon's over here in Aries. I also You have this grand trine in your house of career with Saturn, the system, moon in Aries, fire, transformation, Neptune in Sag. Plus it's a kite pointing to Pluto. So this is really, you're meant to do what you're doing right now. That's a grand trine. Those are things that come really easy for you. They're your blessings, they're your gift. Um, so professionally and career wise, you actually have a few options. You do have options to like help others. You do have options to um like counsel or support people or help people. It- you I don't know if I want to go with the law. But it's more like, but if it had something to do with the system, do you know what I mean by the system? Like our government, those kinds of things. Whatever it is, you have to work from home because it will probably help you, particularly deal and heal from death. Um, yeah, okay. So you're in human resources helping find people jobs. Yep. So actually, that's pretty accurate. The only other thing that might be good for you is something that was more physical. Um, you went to school for criminal justice. Okay. So that makes sense for the system, eh? But you're not working in that. Like you might have gotten that education, but that's not really where you're working. Justice usually has more to do with Sagittarius, but it is part of your grand trine. So it's down here. Neptune and Sag. Second and third house. So probably because of that degree is probably why you make money. Um, but you can see it's like part of this blue triangle here. That's part of who you are. Sagittarius rules justice. And it's over here, the moon in Aries. That makes me feel like usually Aries has to do with like physical things, like exercise, working out, military, things like that. I also have a candle business. I started it behind grief. Okay. Lost a soulmate and started making candles for healing purposes. I believe that. That's that Neptune and Sag down there. That totally makes sense right here. That's that Neptune and Sag, Pluto up here. So death will really change you, like I said, like working from home and the whole healing from death and grief is actually part of what's supposed to happen to you. Yeah, you're getting ready to add to your crystal collection. Beautiful, Angela. Yeah, that's beautiful. Crystals are probably particularly good for you, you know? And if we dive a little deeper in other types of readings, and also I would say that the thing that I notice is that Pluto's down here at the bottom of your chart. It's going to go over your sun um in the next like 5 years. So that could be very life-changing. Your spiritual abilities, well, they're actually uh-huh, yeah, mediumship could actually, well, Pluto, like I said, Pluto up here at the tip right here. Yep, that's at the top of your kite. So yes, you could learn to do mediumship. Most people can, but you could do mediumship for others, especially being a Cancer in your MC and having this beautiful trine. Yes, you could be a medium. Absolutely. The biggest thing for you will be having to slow down. You'll have to learn how to slow down. That will be your challenge as a medium. Yeah. So, as a medium, Angela, that will be your biggest challenge, is learning how to slow down and allow the messages to come to you instead of reaching for them, trying to get them. Your Aries moon is going to make you want to reach for them. Okay. So that'd be the big thing. If you're ever looking for some like mentorship or some coaching, I use your astrology chart to help you sort of develop those skills. Okay. All right. Yep. All right, Angela. It's amazing. It's, I'll tell you what, astrology is my favorite thing in the world. It really is. Okay, Nikki, I did yours. Huh, you must have put it in more than one place, Nikki. Corrine, are you still here? Maggie, are you here? Corrine or Maggie? Oh, Angela, are you doing the astrology class or um the mentorship, mediumship mentorship? Thank you, Angela. I appreciate that. It's fun looking at your chart. Maggie. Okay, Corinne is here. We'll do Corinne's first. All right, Corinne. I found yours. I'm sorry I didn't see it earlier. Okay, you used Astrodienst, huh? This is the first software or Astrolabe. I used to use this, my first software. Okay, so you're a Pisces sun. You are a Taurus rising, and you're a Pisces moon. So you are very sensitive, Corinne. You're about as sensitive as they come. You are super sensitive, super spiritual, and you're a peacekeeper. You want to help people get to peace. Particularly, I wouldn't be surprised if you even did that for a living, like if you were some sort of mediator or something like that. If you were some sort of medium mediator, like a something where you help keep the peace, or it could be spiritual or emotional. um you are supposed to be, do you have any special questions, Corinne? Is there anything you want to know? Yeah, Patty, I got yours. I think yours is next, Patty, or no, after Maddie's. You have Mars and Venus in the 12th house, so you probably don't even see it, but you're probably a very strong woman, only giving advice. Okay. So you give advice to others. Of course you do. Future, financial, and relationships. Okay. Um, I'm going to do the future of your financial and the future of your relationships. As far as the future of your financial, you'll probably also feel some relief when Jupiter goes direct in Gemini in your house of money. And since it's no longer across, sometimes I have to look at these symbols for a few minutes and I'm like, what is that symbol? Oh, it's Uranus. Okay. So when Jupiter goes direct, after the election, Jupiter, or right before, No, it's after the election. Jupiter goes direct, Pluto goes direct before the election, and then Jupiter. And when Jupiter goes direct in Gemini, it will be in opposition to Uranus. So it might be an old way that you made money will come back, but that's okay. I'm going to say take it on, because it could really help you build your home and build up until you're doing what you really want to be doing spiritually. There are some spiritual things that you need to be doing, especially with Jupiter at the top of your sky, spirituality, things like that. So you're supposed to develop as a spiritual person, and I wouldn't be surprised if you were doing readings or something like that. But it's going to take you a little while, because you probably have something going on with kids right now, especially with Mercury right there in between your sun and moon. Your kids will be very important. They'll pretty much lead everything you do, including the money that you make. Um yeah, uh you're welcome. Yeah, it's about time. Well, Karina, I hope it goes well, because it's probably felt really hard. But Jupiter is in your house of money, and it was across here from Neptune, which you may have like chosen to do something that wasn't uh with Pluto. Pluto's right up here. So the thing is that Pluto will be coming up onto your Jupiter 2025, 2026. So that'll probably change how you do business and how you make money. You'll probably figure out a really great way, like being a caregiver or something like that. Okay, caregiver? You'll probably be something like that. It's okay. It's okay. It's not your fault. It's just that they're just super small. That's all. Um I've been told that I've never done it before, only had things happen I couldn't explain. Oh, okay. Yeah, Corrine. It'll happen though when you get older. You'll develop into it, probably in your 40s or so. Um, but right now, oh, you're not you're you're older. Okay. So, but you can develop into that, and probably maybe, later on, especially after Pluto moves across Jupiter for you up in the top of the sky here in 2025. Okay. Oh, and relationships, you asked. What I'm going to say is that you're super intense regarding relationships. And I wonder about who you're attracted to. I wonder that if you're bi or something like that, if you feel those energies where you're also attracted to women, I wouldn't ignore that. Okay. Yeah. I'd be happy to help you, Kareen. Okay. I don't want to get too much into a relationship, just because I can see that there's probably some things that are probably a little bit more private, but I'm just going to say that with Mars and Venus conjunct like that in the 12th house, you may not even be aware of it, or might be becoming aware of it now as you're older. Okay. All right. So now we'll move on past Kareen and Maggie. I assume you were here. You were just here a minute ago, so I assume you still are. Maggie, you are a Gemini sun, Gemini moon, and a Scorpio rising. Of course you. No, Green, it is good. I just don't want to. Do you really want me to like out a whole bunch of your personal business and personal emotions and stuff like that here in public in front of hundreds of people? Do you really want me to do that? That's what I'm saying. Okay. Hi, Maggie. Hi, Maggie. Um, You are a Gemini sun and a Gemini moon. You are a Scorpio rising. Makes you super intense. It makes you see through people. You can see the root of things. Uh, and you'll just know people really deeply and intensely. You'll be able. Sometimes it's intimidating to people. People will judge you. people will make some sort of snap judgments about you, and you'll be like, why do you think I'm gonna like bite your head off or something? And you're actually not like that at all. You're actually a really nice person, but people will project crazy shit onto you. Some people might see you as dark. See? Yes, for reals. Mhm. And it's because of that Scorpio rising. Um Interesting that your moon in Gemini and your sun in Gemini. I don't know if you would like to know about career or purpose. Okay. The relationship issues are probably because Uranus is in Taurus. So it's probably going to make you aware of trauma bonding and how you're repeating your trauma in relationships. And oh boy, that'll move on. It will change, and you'll probably see a fresh perspective and a fresh way of doing things. Pretty sure Uranus moves into Gemini. Let me just look. I think it's in 2025, but let me look. Uranus is in Taurus. There it is. Yep. You'll probably really feel it next summer. You'll really feel a refreshing feeling of regarding relationships next summer, like July, August, because Uranus will move out of Taurus, which rules your house of relationships, and also Saturn, which rules your Saturn is in Pisces. It will move on to Aries. So I think that you're gonna feel a relief in relation to relationships. Also, it might take you a little bit of time to figure it out, but it looks like your involvement in the occult, like astrology and spirituality and stuff like that, will really help you unfold and understand more deeply who you are and what you and what serves you in relationship, especially especially like your values and things like that. And what did you career purpose. Well, career and purpose could be two different things. Let me just start there. Sometimes our purpose is to do this, but our job is just what we do. But you do have oh. Okay, so you have the MC, which is like your career and stuff. Let me look and see if any of this is right. Is any of this right, Maggie? I assume it is. Um, you have this MC up here in Leo, and Leo is ruled by the sun, which brings us back here to the occult with the sun in Gemini, into the house of occult and the house of Scorpio, which is your rising sign. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you were some sort of um, detective, spiritual leader, um, something to do with mystery or something to do with like the occult or spirituality. Um, and you're supposed to be a leader. So whatever it is, you'll be a leader. And like I find that it might change over time. I also want to say that. Okay. Um and but you could be like a politician or an artist or a teacher, but whatever it is, it's probably going to involve a lot of creativity. Okay, so if you feel like your job changes or something like that, it might have something to do with your creativity changing and your personal transformation. Okay. Okay, so I don't know if any of this is on point, but Scorpio rising. She doesn't want to validate. She doesn't want to over validate because she might give something away. Relationship issues. Oh, I already addressed that. Uranus will move out of your house of relationships. Currently, Uranus is here revolutionizing your relationships, asking you to look at them differently and asking you to see the trauma, see the wounding, see the trauma bond. Okay? So, learning about trauma, learning about things like that. Okay? All right, Maggie, I hope that was helpful. And let's see, who else was in here? Okay. All right, got those. Ashley Cromley, are you here? Ashley Cromley. You're welcome. You're welcome, Maggie. You're welcome. Ashley. Yay, you're here. You are still here. Okay. Jen, I'm doing them in order as I've gotten them. Frankly, uh, yeah. Yeah, Maggie. We should definitely do deeper. I have astrology 101 classes. I'm happy to teach you what I'm doing. So, Ashley, back to your chart. You're also a Cancer sun and Mercury. Wow, Mercury is conjunct your sun. You probably talk to a point where some people might think you talk too much. Um, and then your Capricorn rising. Don't make you mad because you might just come at them. But you're pretty good at expressing your anger in a good way without blowing up too much. And where's your moon? Oh, here it is. You're an Aquarius moon. So Aquarius moon, when you get mad, I am a little bit tired, Kareen. I'm getting done. Okay, Patty. Ashley. So we're on Ashley. Um, Ashley, you're an Aquarius moon, and it's actually a really good part of your identity because it will help you like sort of mostly do what's good for you and stay focused in what's good for you and speak up for yourself um and have fairly good boundaries. I'm sure you've struggled with it to some degree, but it won't be so bad that it hurts you. Okay? And my husband tells me everyone not to make him. I believe that, Ashley. I believe that. People don't want to make you mad because if you take a look here, Mars, which is the god of war, is on your ascendant in Capricorn, and Capricorn's like a goat, and you're Capricorn rising, boy. And Capricorn is like it's not like the bull like Taurus. It's yeah, it's gonna come at you with horns and all. Okay. So don't want to piss you off. I agree with your husband. um anyway, you'll very much identify with your relationships. Um and also pretty chatty, particularly with people that you're in relationship with. So it would be your partner, but also anyone else that you are close to. Um and I can see, do you have any questions, Ashley? I don't know if you have any focus for your chart. I'm going to say that your identity has probably changed recently. And as it goes forward in 2025, you'll realize that your identity is changing more. Um, you're a very strong woman, but I would call you an earthy woman. So, oh, you're curious if you're in the right career. Well, I don't know what you're doing exactly, but you have Libra at the top of your chart that sort of runs your house of career. So it could be like psychologist or a therapist or a lawyer or a judge or a diplomat or anything like that. Interior design, anything to do with style, also like architects and musicians. But you also have the six houses ruled by Gemini, Mercury, and Leo. Whatever you are, you're probably a supervisor. Wouldn't be surprised if you become a supervisor most often in whatever you do. What do you do? A paralegal. Yeah, you're doing what you're supposed to do. That's what I just listed. I don't think I said judges and diplomats. But yeah, things that have to do with the law. Yep. Because Libra is about fair, right? And it shows the balance, right? Okay. Yep. Good job. You're doing it. That's what you're supposed to do. Is that your purpose? Well, that's your career. Your purpose actually has something more to do with physicality in your community, being some sort of leader in your community, actually. So that actually really has more to do with you're too mean to become a leader. That's actually not true. You just don't put up with anyone's bullshit. Um but I wouldn't be surprised if you were some sort of leader in your community if you become softer as you get older. You'll learn to manage that Mars on your ascendant. You'll learn to manage it as you get older. Okay? Don't worry about it too much. It will come naturally to you. You'll learn. And eventually you'll be better at expressing it. Okay? Yeah. I agree, Ashley. But I'm a Scorpio rising. I'm okay with the truth. I speak it all the time. Okay. So that's Ashley. Well, I hope that was helpful, Ashley. Now we're gonna move on to Patty. I was right, Patty. You were close to being next. Patty, I know you're still here. I hope you're still here. I hate when it gets lost, when I lose it. Here it is. Okay, Patty. I gotta zoom in. Here, Cancer Sun, Taurus Rising, and a Scorpio Moon. So, Patty, um, you love and value education. You're a Taurus rising. So I don't know if you have any specific questions, Patty. I don't know if you have any specific questions, but I'm sure you'll let me know. You're a Taurus rising, so that essentially means that, like I said about the bull, so you'll see a change coming. It'll be over there like a flapping red thing to the bull, and you'll look at it and you'll be like, I don't know if I'm supposed, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And then eventually, when you do decide to do something, woof, watch out because you will get it done, and no one's going to get in your way. And that's a Taurus rising. Very loyal. You stay committed. You're very committed to things, and you're a Scorpio moon, so you're actually quite intuitive, and you're intuitive about who you should be around and what kind of relationships you should be in. Anything to with losing people. Kareen, if you'd like that, you can pay for a reading and I'll record it and send it to you. Anything to do with losing people. You mean people dying? hmm So, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking in that. I mean, we all lose people. But you will find yourself dealing with particularly death in your day-to-day life. It will directly, if when you lose someone, it will directly affect your day-to-day life, more so than maybe the average person. Particularly, um, it might make you mm, it might make you really feel like it might really question about who you're in service to, or like what you do for a living and things like that could all change because of losing someone. You lost 3 in a year, 2 of them were your kids. Okay. Yeah, so Patty, so okay. So also, I don't know if this time is accurate because Pluto could easily be in over here in your house of kids. But in the 8th house, Sagittarius. Okay. So you're meant to learn a lot about death, yes, but also the other side and different perspectives and different ways to do it. And so would I say that you're like I would say that the loss that you've experienced, I'd have to look closer at each of those lots, but I would guess that you're supposed to sort of expand your horizons. Okay? Yeah, Patty. It was really hard. I'd have to look at each one of those passings to see how they affected your life, you know, but I'm imagining it has really affected your spirituality and also even your career and what you're doing for a living, huh? What you're bringing to the world? Yeah. Okay. Good, Patty. That might be a good idea. Okay. Um yeah. Okay. It might be a good idea for you to your children have something to do with your past lives. Okay? So whatever you've lost your children, it has something to do with your past life. All right? You can see that very clearly as a north node here. Opposite of the north node is south node, which is down here in your house of children in Leo. It's very much about your loss, but it has something to do with your past lives in relation to your children. So, so I just want to say that if you ever felt like your kids were from a past life, and she said, "Yep, that's what I thought." Yep, exactly. Yep, Patty, you're right. Okay, so that's an insight I can see just by looking at your chart without anyone else's chart here. Okay, and who is this here? Bianca Clark. What is all this that's going on? I don't know what this is. Bianca, are you here? No, Gracely, I'm still working through the ones in the. There's a lot of charts. I have a lot of charts. I don't think I'm gonna get them all done. Um, hey Missy. Um, yes, I agree, Eva. So much to astrology. It's kind of mind blowing, eh? Bianca, what are all these charts? You gave me 2 charts. So I'm only going to read 1 chart, Bianca. I'm not sure why you're giving me 2 different charts. The one with a B. I don't see it. Oh, that's a B up at the top. Oh, gosh. Okay. And we don't know your birth time? You don't know your birth time? You don't know your birth time, Bianca? Is that why I don't have any houses? Okay. Knowing your birth time could be really helpful. So you're a Sagittarius. I don't know your rising sign because you don't know what time you were born. And you're an Aquarius moon. A lot of things actually come together more easily than you think for you. It's actually, this is a minor trine. So interesting. You're actually healing from death and experience of death in relationship easier than you thought, particularly through things like this. Aquarius moon's going to bring you to spirituality and mediumship and things like that. But Pluto in Libra is about death of relationships, like people in relationship dying. And then your sun in Sagittarius will sort of force you to like learn about different methods and different ways of doing things. You're very spiritual, and it will be very much dependent. Oh, it has something to do with your past lives too. So you're probably spiritual in a past life. It looks like you're able to come by and take care of yourself in a pretty good way. Your expansion of who you are will come through your spiritual practice. It will come through your spirituality. I don't know what you said yes to, and I don't know what no is too. So I don't know. Anyway, I don't know, since you didn't give me your birth time, I don't know like what the houses are, so it's a little bit harder to read. Um, but yeah, we're starting to get to the end here. So I don't know if you have any question, Bianca. I don't know what your question is. Might be better if you asked a question. Okay. Gracely, here it is. I told you I probably just didn't get to it yet. Gracely, are you still here? Okay. Good idea, Bianca. Find out your birth time and then book with me later. It's a good idea. Especially if you want to know about your son's death. Okay? Or even synastry between you and another person. Gracely, are you here? Gracely, Gracely, Gracely. Okay. Oh, there you are, Gracely. Okay. Thank you for letting me know you're here. I have you as a Taurus and your Scorpio moon and a Gemini rising. Assuming this is the correct birth time. And so with a Taurus sun, you're very loyal, you're very dedicated, you will always sort of follow through and do the right thing. And at the same time, your Scorpio moon, it's opposite. So you're either in your earthly sort of mundane things of going to work and stuff like that, or you're very in your emotions in your day-to-day life. So sometimes it's probably a little bit of like a push and pull, and it feels like you can't mix the two. You have to have one or the other. And your Scorpio moon can also be very intuitive and mysterious. Okay. You may not understand it very well. You're also meant to be doing some sort of spiritual stuff. Or I guess it could be to do with justice, leadership, that kind of thing. But it will be about answering the mysteries of life. Did you have a specific question, Gracely? Is there anything you want to know about in particular? Your Venus is in Gemini on the rising there. So, resources are very much your identity about what you have and how much of it you have. Be very important to you. And oh, you don't have any specific questions. Okay. Um, I mean, I could sit here and talk hours about a chart. You have a mystic rectangle a mystic rectangle, and a grand trine, which means things come to you fairly easily in regards to those things. So the grand trine is in respect to the system around money and also your work in the world, and um, particularly in being in service to people and helping people, particularly maybe keeping the peace, but sort of doing it in a more aggressive, assertive way. And it'll probably have a lot to do with reading people because it will involve your Scorpio moon. Now, the mystic rectangle that you have has a lot to do with Pluto, so that's the dead, and Neptune, so that would be visionary, and it would have a lot to do with also your Venus, yeah, your Venus on your ascendant in Gemini and Jupiter up there in the 11th house. So I wouldn't be surprised if you did some sort of readings or psychic readings and definitely had something to do with mediumship or the dead, particularly as you get older because Pluto is retrograde and so is Neptune. So these will be things that you develop later in life. This will also be part of your main destination in life, your main destiny. Um, Even though your career might be something different than your destiny. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful. You're a social worker. Okay. I believe that. Yep. You help others right now. Yep. All right. Now, let's see here. I was just looking at, is Zach Gallagher here? Zach Gallagher. You're welcome, Grace Lee. Zach Gallagher. Are you here? Mm-hmm. They messaged me like 4 times the same thing. And Jen Dunworth, are you here? Okay. Okay. I don't know what these 2 charts are, Jen. You gave me 2 charts. I don't know what's what. So I don't know if Jen is here. I'm here. Okay, Jen. You gave me 2 charts. I don't know which is which. But let's see what this one is. This says March 6, 1960. Who is that? March 6, 1960. Who is that? Pretty sure it says March 6, 1960. Oops. March 6, 1980. 1980. Who's that? Okay, Jen. Who is the person that's 1980? That's your chart. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. That's the one I got. As mentioned, I'm not doing death charts. If you want a death chart for your mom, you can book a reading at my website, divineandrogen.com. Jen Duntworth, I'm March 6, 1980. Okay. So, Jen, this is your chart. Let me close this off so I stop trying to look at the wrong one. Okay. Pisces. So you're a Pisces sun, you're an Aquarius rising, and you're a Scorpio moon. So Scorpio moons are very sensitive. They're detectives. They're very good at getting to the root of things. As an Aquarius, you sometimes might find yourself a little on the aloof side, but you're always very dedicated and loyal. You're meant to be very loyal and dedicated. And as a Pisces, you want to keep the peace, particularly in your family. So you will avoid saying even your truth, um, because your Mercury is also in Pisces. So you'll avoid speaking your truth, um, to keep the peace. What do you want to know, Jen? I'll get back to you. They call me Detective Dunworth. Oh my gosh, I believe that. What do you want to know, Jen? Is there any specific thing you want to know about your life? Mm, Death will become a very spiritual thing for you, but I will say that it might start out in religion, huh? Particularly in like Christianity or some sort of traditional, unless you were brought up Jewish. It might start out there, but it would probably evolve from there. Um, okay, so Jen said it's also true. And they asked, what is my past life? Why am I here? And what am I supposed to do from here? Okay, as far as the death goes, it'll be easier to tell when I'm looking at the death. Okay, um, what is a past life and why am I here? Past life. So in a past life, you may have been very centered around you, actually, particularly spiritual in a way, and maybe even putting on not a mask, but it may have been about the collective. And you now it needs to be more about leadership and loyalty, and instead of being about on your own, it's more about leading the collective instead of making room for the collective. So it's a little bit different, but in a Leo it's about you, and it's about your relationships, particularly with men. That will have a lot to do with your destiny, actually, and it will have a lot to do with your community and your intuitive nature and your siblings, even. So I wouldn't be surprised if you had a brother or something like that. And it would also have to do with your mom. So I wouldn't be surprised if had a particularly special relationship with your mom, which I think you said you did. Um, so, um, so those are all very important part of who you are and why you're here. Actually, the most important thing is your loyalty to relationships, actually. That is your destiny. I know it seems weird. People are like, well, that's not my job. You're an only child. So it could be, yeah, it could be with your current relationship, Jen. Yep, it'll be with the men in your life, boys, men in your life. Okay. So, um, anything to do with them. I'm looking for yours. Okay. And it'll be about keeping the peace and being the leader and the person that keeps the peace in your family. Okay, Jen? That's very much who you are. You're meant to keep the peace. Particularly transforming anger into like action or other more helpful actions rather than just responding to anger. I'm a counselor for a school. I believe that. Yep. She says, oops. She says truth. Yep. Okay. Truth. Yes. Yep. And I'm a counselor for school. That would be okay. Well, typically, Scorpio is a counselor of some sort. MC is Scorpio up here. Revolutionary with the Uranus there in Scorpio. So that's going to be pretty intense. Plus, Moon in Scorpio, mother. Are you a motherly type? You must be if you're a counselor for a school. You're definitely a mother. Where do I go from here? I assume you're talking about with death. What will my future hold? Well, it depends on what part of your future. That's a big question, Jen. um, like what part of your future? Your career, your relationships? I don't know. It'll depend on where, we have 12 pieces of the pie here. Where do I go from here? As far as healing from death, healing from loss, it'll be, as I said, about religion and spirituality and learning about cultures and how I don't know, like, were you brought up Christian or something? Um, it had to be. It's probably Christianity. I'm not sure that you'll like it, but that's where it will all begin, and then you'll change it over time. Um, um, so how do you heal that death is to get in touch with different parts of the world and different world religions and things like that. Okay? Yep. See, you were in the church choir since since yeah, since preschool. Yep. hmm But you'll need to branch out beyond that. Christian religion will only be able to answer so many questions. So, in order for you to really get that question answered, you'll have to branch out, particularly with Neptune and Sag. It'd be through the people you know. So that could be like people like me, but other people that you know that might open you up to different spiritual paths. Was your mom a spiritual leader in the community? Your mom that you lost? So what I'm doing, you guys that are new here, looks like somebody in YouTube. I'm doing astrology readings, and I'm pretty much finishing up now. This will probably be the last one I do. Yep. You're the one trying to keep the family together and my relationship. Yep, exactly. So that's kind of your destiny, Jen. That's actually what you're supposed to be doing. So if you ever wondered if you're supposed to be doing that, the answer is yes. And my mom worked for the church with children's. Exactly. So your mom was a spiritual leader, sort of a leader in the spiritual world. And um, that's exactly, Jen. Okay. So you're supposed to be doing that. Okay. So if you ever wondered if you're supposed to be doing that, the answer is yes. That's part of your healing journey. Okay? All right. Well, I look forward to doing any readings in Jamie. Did I get your message, Jamie? Where did I see it come in? Uh, mm, I might have to do this on my phone, Jamie. Here it is. Because if I change, I'll take down the live that I'm in. Okay, Jamie. I can't really share your chart, but you're a Pisces sun, you're an Aquarius rising, and an Aries moon. So, yeah, I got it. Jamie, I got it. But you sent it to Psychic Insights, not my personal account. So, Just it's a weird thing on Facebook. I'm gonna take down this birth chart. And Jamie, why can't I close this? It's weird. Okay, whatever. Okay. So Jamie, you are Pisces sun. Now it's across from your Jupiter in the 8th house, which is could make you sometimes feel like you want to expand in relationships or you want to go further, but you want to stay loyal in relationships as well. You want to keep the peace. So sometimes you might get lost in relationship. You might want to be careful of that because it might keep you from growing. But you'll grow eventually because you'll have to. You won't be able to ignore that. You won't be able to ignore that Jupiter. Um, would like to know about my past life and what my purpose is in life. Okay. Your past lives. Tracy, what it was actually gave me their information or posted their circle chart, which is actually like in the description of the event. It tells you to do that. And now I got a spammer. Ah, jeez. They're such a big pain in. You know what's funny is that I don't even know if these spammer people. Well, they must make some money off of somebody because that's why they do it. They wouldn't do it if they didn't. All right. Yeah, it's a scammer. Exactly. Yep, I got him, Jamie. Delete. Mm. Jamie's too smart for those scammers. I bet they were, Tracy, especially if you were Scorpio and or they were Scorpio and you were Taurus. They're opposite of each other. Okay, Kristen, I look forward to it. All right, Jamie. So, you asked for your purpose in life. Let me go back to it. My past life and what was my purpose in life. So your past life actually had a lot to do with um has a lot to do with your connection to others and your education with others. And the funny thing is that here and now has to do with the people you know. So I don't know if you're like some sort of like networker or something, maybe. But it has a lot to do with the people you know. And the people that are in your world. And it's particularly people that have power over you. That's a lot of why you're here. And it also has a lot to do with your work in the world. Pluto and Scorpio, it's very much about generational trauma and transforming it, but it's up in the late degrees. So mindfulness, meditation, and stuff like that's really going to transform you into who you're supposed to be. Your moon's in Aries, and so is Mercury. Watch out. You piss her off, man, she's going to get you. Uh, um, all right, Jamie. Anything else, Jamie, you want to know? Okay. Tracy, I'm a professional, so most people book with me. So most people like book private readings with me. All right. So if you want a reading with me, um you can book with me at divineandrogen.com. There's a link to my website. You can book a private with me. And I do astrology death chart readings and things like that. I've gotten to a lot of them. I probably didn't get to all of them. I'm sorry if you posted your thing and didn't get it. Oh, here's Kristen's. Kristen's, I'm just now seeing. Kristen, are you still here? Yeah. Creston, is Wayne the person you lost? Did he pass? He's passed, huh? Okay. Okay. Yeah. It will be very private things, what I'm seeing here in his chart. So I'm not going to say anything. Okay, Kristen? Thanks, Kristen. I appreciate that. I do see your chart, though, here, his chart. And, um, so, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that, Kristen. You're very sweet. I bet you Kristen is Kristen's a Sag. No wonder. Kristen's like, this is crazy. This has been like 2 hours. Yep. But it's okay. I love astrology. It's like my favorite thing in the world. So, you're welcome, Kristen. But astrology is officially my favorite thing in the world, and um if you're looking for more astrology, I have a class. I have a 101 class. I have a 101 class. I have where it comes with like free coaching lessons and things like that. So it's actually really cool. And you can tune in and watch me do astrology readings next time. I'll be doing some more. So if you didn't get your reading today, you can catch it, but it'll just be a little mini reading. I won't go in depth. You know, there's a big difference between a mini reading and an hour long reading, right? Okay. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about you or your loved one or your relationship with your loved one. Okay. So, oh, I appreciate that, Kristen. Thanks for watching and listening. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you. Um, so, getting an astrology chart reading, I think is the most powerful thing you can do for yourself. And if you are suffering with grief, it can help. I can point you in the direction of what would help you heal. Okay. So, if you did lose somebody and someone passed, do that. Okay. All right, friends. I'm going to go. Good night and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.